Hi, welcome to Nimbus Daily. This is Moni Karthik. Today I'm having an exciting topic named Approach to the Hindu newspaper. So we are having five topics here. One is types, and then the purpose, and then whether we want to take notes or not, and then there is an idea to retain the content, and finally whether we have to follow the YouTube channels for the Hindu news analysis. So first we are having types of article. This is very much important. Why? Because only when we get to know the types of article, then only we can able to understand or identify whether this particular article is needed or not. Right? So this has to be like we have to know that. Otherwise, there is no point because in each and every newspaper will be having around 80 to 100 articles. It is not possible to read each and every article. So for that, in order to sort down those issues, we have to know about the type of article. So here we are having the classification of articles. I have classified the articles based on three heads. Based on the subject, based on the nature of the content, and based on the way the idea is conveyed. First, we'll start with the idea of subjects. So it is very usual that every one of us used to do the classification of article based on the subject. For example, whether the article is from the social issues or from economy or from polity or internal security or any other topics. The major advantage of classifying the articles based on the subject is that it is very helpful to categorize the content based on the papers. So we know that we are having the papers such as GS1, GS2, GS3, and GS4. So we can categorize the content or we can organize the content in such a way so that the preparation becomes very easy. So that is all about the categorization of article based on the subject. That is done. So it is very usual. But when we come to this point, so based on the way the idea is conveyed, based on the nature of the content, this categorization is not obvious. So that's why I want to give a more idea about these two. For example, based on the nature of the content, we are classifying the articles into four: information based article, opinion based article, political article, and technical article. On the other hand, the way the idea is conveyed, it is categorized into two: direct article and the indirect article. Look at this article. This article talks about the monkeypox in Kerala, and also it talks about the efforts taken by the ministry to contain the contagious disease. Right? So here I'm calling this article as a informative and direct. Why? Because so it talks about the news. So something is happening in Kerala and how the ministry is taking the action. So it talks about the information and it is also direct. It talks about the monkeypox. So idea is very much clear and it is very much direct. And it is easy for the aspirants to get the content out of the article. So that's why I'm calling this as a informative and direct article. Look at this article. This article talks about the migration. So 1.6 lakh Indians gave up the Indian citizenship and they are moving to Canada, UK, Italy, Netherlands, New Zealand, Singapore, and US. So mostly they are migrating to developed countries, right? Why? Because better opportunities such as education, job opportunities, and better lifestyle, right? Yeah, as an individual it is good for them, but as a country it is not good for the country. Why? Because as a country, we spend a lot on the health, we spend a lot on the education, we spend a lot on the job opportunities, and then we spend a lot to impart skill, right? And then we spend a lot to secure them, right? So as a government, if some government is taking these much efforts to create a human resource, once they acquired everything like health, education, job, skill, and everything which is needed for the perfect life, if they are moving to the foreign country, which means we are experiencing the loss of human resource, which is nothing but a brain drain, right? So as an article, it is very much informative. For example, yes, it is giving the idea that okay, data that okay, this much number is leaving, and then they are moving to this country. Okay, it is informative, and also to an extent, it is direct. That okay, in terms of the context, it is direct. But the problem is that when it comes to the exam point of view, the idea of brain drain is not conveyed in the article, right? So because of that, we are claiming this article as informative but indirect. Clear? So in the previous case, we were discussing about the informative but direct article. So these are the two differences. This is another article talks about the Russia-Ukraine deal. And this article questioned whether the existing deal will addresses the global food crisis or not, right? So here I'm calling this article as a opinion based article. Why? Because it was written by the experts, and also it addresses pros and cons, and also it addresses all the nooks and corners of the issue. That's why it is comprehensive in nature. So that's why I'm calling this article as an opinion based article. For the exam point of view, it is very much useful. Why? Because it gives the content for our answers, and also it gives valid justification for our stand. So that's why it is very much important, and it is very useful for the mains examination. That's why I encourage students to read opinion based articles. This is another article talks about the tension between the Anurag Thakur, the minister, and some other member. So there is no analysis and no factual information which can be used for the exam point of view. That's why it is better not to read this article. That's why we are calling this article as a political article. This is another article talks about the bank's NPA ratio. It might get reduced by March 2024 with some percentage. This is the idea. So the problem with the article is very technical in nature. Even though it talks about something related to NPA, credit rating agency, so and so, so and so. But the problem is that these numbers are not needed and it is very technical in nature. So what we can do is better we can get rid of those articles. So for that, what we can do is, so for the numbers, we can rely on economic survey. So try to get the numbers from the economic survey, and it is better to get the numbers for the annual terms. Now we have completed the types. Then we are going to discuss about the purpose. The students have to know about the purpose. Then only they can able to use the content effectively. So these are some of the purposes to read the newspaper. The first important thing is the development of personal opinion. So we know that in the civil service examination, we are having three stages. We are having prelims, we have mains, and then we have interview. For these three stages, we have to know about the facts, but also we have to know how to do the analysis, right? So might be in the prelims, facts might get advantage over the analysis. In the mains, the analysis might get advantage over the facts, and also in interview the analysis might get advantage over the facts. So in order to do the analysis, we have to generate our own opinion. So in order to generate our own personal opinion, this newspaper is very much useful. Next is to update the dynamic subjects. We know that we are having economics, we have social issues, we have polity, we have international relation. So every subject we know that these are very much dynamic in nature. So we have to update the facts each and every year. For example, okay, in economics we can take that okay, GDP is there, and then repo rate is there, inflation is there, debt is there, taxation is there. Every number which we are using it in the economy is dynamic in nature, so that we have to update each and every number. So that's why we are relying newspaper to update the dynamic subjects. So next, to find the case studies. So case studies is very much important for ethics and also developmental issues, and also for some of the administration related topics. So what we can do is, after reading the newspaper article, we can note down all those issues as a case studies that can be very much useful for writing the mains answers. The newspaper is useful to find and revise the conventional topics. For example, in the economy, so we are having the concept of GDP, we are having a concept of non-performing asset, we are having the concept of credit rating agency. So every concept can be revised while reading it in the newspaper so that we can reinforce the conventional topics. Finally, we are having two things: to answer the map-based question and also to know the reliable facts, statistics and examples. So it is difficult for us to know about each and every location and its significance. So what we can do is we can better get those map-based questions from the newspaper. So that is one thing. And apart from that, we'll be getting enough information or enough facts and statistics from the newspaper. For example, okay, today we get to know about the migration details. So those details, like it is, for example, in order to write the answer related to brain drain, it is obvious that okay, we can tell them that at that 1.6 lakh students got migrated to these countries. As a whole, the newspaper helps to develop the personal opinion, to update the dynamic subjects, and also to find the case studies, and also to find and revise the conventional topics, and also help to answer the map based questions, and also to get the facts and relevant examples to write the mains questions. So next we are having an important topic related to the notes. So here we are going to discuss about whether we have to take notes or not, and also we have to discuss how to take notes. So these are the two things which we are going to discuss in this section. Answering to the first question, it is S. So why? Because so we have to create notes, then only we'll be having a standard material, right? So only then we can able to revise the content at the end of the year. And also taking notes very much important to organize the content. And most importantly, only when we are writing or taking notes, then only we can able to easily digest the content. So these are the three things, like to revise, to organize the content, and also to understand the content in a better way, we have to take notes. So next we are going to answer a very important question, whether to have a handwritten notes or digital notes. So I personally prefer both of them. Like initially I was doing the handwritten thing, and then after that I moved to the digital format. So both of them having their own advantages and disadvantages. When we are going for a handwritten thing, then the advantage is that it is easy to connect with the content. And second thing is that we will not be writing too much things. We'll write whatever the content which we want. So because it is very difficult to write too much in writing, so that's why it is very limited. So that is one thing. But the problem is that the organizing the content is little bit difficult. So this is the problem with the handwritten notes. But when it comes to the digital format, so organizing the content is little bit easy, and also we can able to add the content in the proper channel. For example, for example, if I'm copying some content here, and then after that, if needed, I can paste the content here as. Finally, we have to remember two things. So we have to write the notes in our own language. That is first part. And then second thing is that we should not dump the content. So don't dump the content. For example, in an article, if you are having too many facts, it is better not to write too many facts. Try to take only the important or relevant facts. Moving to the next important topic, here we are going to discuss about how to retain the content which we learned from the newspaper. In order to remember the content which we learned from the newspaper articles, we have to do some basic steps. So for that, we have to know about two things: structure of the article and the stand of the author. So these are the two major things that we have to understand from the article. Here the idea, the structure of the article which I mean is that, for example, when we consider an article, any article, for example, we'll be having a title here, and then we'll have some small intro idea here, and then we'll be having the introduction part, conclusion part, and then, so whatever it is. So we have to know that, okay, this is introduction, this is the definition part. So here the author is discussing the relation with the other concepts. So in this manner, we have to know about each and every segment. So this is process, this is introduction, this is relation, this is comparison. So everything which we have to know. So this is about the structure of the article. And also we have to know about the stand of the author. So what exactly the author is trying to say, whether he is critical about the particular topic, or he is supporting the topic, or he is opposing the topic or content. So those things we have to understand, and also we have to understand the tone of the author, whether he is optimistic or whether he is critical in nature or whether he is pessimistic in nature. So those things has to be very clear. So when we get to know about these things, we get to know that our mind tend to create a pattern, and which is very much important to visualize the article which is there in the newspaper. So next important thing is the one-line understanding. So even though the article is having around 200 words or 300 words, we have to get a proper one-line understanding. So we have to get the key takeaway of the particular article. So okay, this article is trying to say this. So those things has to be clear. So if you are getting the clear picture, or if you try to get the one-line understanding, so one-line understanding will be there, and then if you know the pattern of the entire article, these two will reinforce each other, and that itself suffices to retain the content which you learned from the article. So after that, we have to know about two things. What is the idea of the article? That is, what exactly the author is trying to say. So what is the key takeaway? And we have to know that why he is taking this stand. Okay, what is the justification? So those two things are very much important. Why? Because then only we can able to create our own personal opinion, and that is very much important to write the main answers. So next important thing is to summarize the content. So after reading every article, we have to summarize the entire content. Like, this is the introduction part, this is the body part, this is the conclusion part, and this is the key takeaway, and these are the things which I am going to write it as a notes. So these are the things has to be very much clear. As I already told, like after summarizing, we have to take notes. So notes should be crisp, and then it should be comprehensive in nature, and you should not dump the content, and then you have to write it in your own language. So these are very much important while taking the notes, because then only you can able to get a connection with the content. So this is very much important while taking the notes. And after that, in a periodical time interval, so we have to revise and recollect the content which we have created already. And informally, even we can do the revision thing, like talking the same topic with the family and then discussing the topic with the colleagues, and then like even we can do some teaching activity so that it will give a better picture to us. So that is very much important in doing the revision part as an informal thing. So talking to others and teaching and the discussion part. So these are very much important. Coming to the last topic, we are going to discuss about whether we can rely on YouTube channel for the Hindu news analysis. So for that we have to consider few parameters. So first main thing is that it is whether the main source of current affairs or supplementary source of current affairs. Obviously the answer should be the supplementary one. Why? Because so it is advisable to read the newspaper and then take notes and then revise the content and then digest the content and then develop the opinion out of it. So this is very much important for each and every student. So I can prefer taking notes from the newspaper as a main source of current affairs. So when it comes to the YouTube channels, so this can act as a supplementary sources to revise the content, to reinforce the content, and also to check whether all the topics are covered. And apart from that, while choosing the YouTube channels, we have to check whether the particular site is providing the standard content or not, and whether I can able to establish a connection with the content which they are providing. And after that, we have to know the extent of the coverage which we are doing, whether they are covering prelims aspect or mains aspect. Those things has to be very much clear. So because based on the demands only, for example, if I need prelims content, we have to rely on the sources which is providing prelims content. And if I need more analysis, we have to go for the analysis based news articles. So those things has to be very much clear, and most importantly we have to be very clear that those channels which are dumping the facts has to be avoided, because it is obviously going to divert the entire idea. So this is what I thought. And finally, the extent which we are going to rely on the YouTube channel is based on your experience. So you have to do the trial and error, then only you can able to get an idea that to what an extent I have to rely on the particular channel, that you get to know. So we came to the end of this session. So that's all about the today's session. So after that I have to give an idea about the upcoming session. So hereafter every day we used to get an video analysis of 2 topics every day in our website, and then we'll also be providing some factual current affairs material that is relevant to the prelims examination. So we are having Nimbus daily, one deliverable, and then prelims daily as another deliverable. This is for the mains point of view, this is for the prelims point of view. So meet you in another interesting topic in another session. Thank you.